Greetings and welcome to the Retirement Mentality. If you're interested in early retirement planning, how to save, how to invest, if the FIRE movement is something that you're following, this is a place for you. I'm going to get right to the point today. We're going to talk about expenses, we're going to talk about income, and we're going to talk about savings. This whole economy, your personal finances, early retirement, late retirement, any kind of retirement, it all comes down to how much money do you make, how much of that money do you keep, what are your expenses, and how much are you able to save or to invest. So there's only three components to this whole thing, so we're going to dive into it right now. There are lots of channels that dive into being a minimalist. A lot of the FIRE movement is about cutting your expenses to the bare minimum, living on top ramen, living in your parents' basement, to save 90% of your income so that you can retire and live on a shoestring budget also. And that's not the way that I want to do it. And I think that's why a lot of people are turned off by the FIRE movement and, trying to save $4 million into a bank account and live off of 3 or 4% of that. It's just so daunting and it's just so hard. But let's talk about it in terms of baby steps. Yes, most people, 99% of people should and could and can and need to cut their expenses. You need to spend less consumerism, less, cable TV, less expensive haircuts or nails or handbags or golf clubs or electronics, computers, iPhones, whatever, iPhones with an iWatch, all these different things. Like, we all know that we spend too much and there's lots of ways that we can cut our expenses. But the problem is, you can only cut your expenses so much. There gets to a point where you can get so lean, like a lot of these people in the FIRE movement, that there's nothing left to cut. There's only increasing your income. So we don't want to just cut expenses. We want to cut expenses and increase income. And when you can do both of those, that's where that savings level goes up. Or investing, we don't want to just put money into a savings account. We're losing money, but we need to learn how to invest the money We need intelligently. We need to learn how to invest the money intelligently in appreciating assets, and don't buy any more depreciating assets like expensive cars and things. We need to figure out where we can stick our money to grow our investments. This is where a lot of people mistake being frugal and being cheap. A lot of times, if you just always opt for the cheaper version, it doesn't last as long. You're replacing it. It never brought you the satisfaction you wanted. So you have to buy two of them, or you end up buying the expensive version anyways. The $4 Starbucks coffee has sort of become the poster boy for the frugality movement. They say, oh, if you save that $4, that's $800 a year, or whatever the cost may be. And the $4 Starbucks coffee is not going to prolong your working by 10 years or prevent you from being able to retire early. It just really is, like I said, the poster boy of the movement. It just gets your mind thinking about, is this a good investment or a bad investment or a smart expense or a dumb expense? I have a friend who lives on a boat in the marina over here, and he has an $800 coffee machine on his boat. And I was asking him about it, and he said it's one of the best things he's ever bought. It makes the most delicious coffee and blah, 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 and he loves it. So that's a good buy for him. It keeps him from going to the marina and buying a $4 cup of coffee every day, but he uses it. He loves it. It was expensive. He could have got by with something cheaper, but hey, sometimes you just have to splurge in life. And by getting the best of something, it actually prevents you from buying one coffee machine that you didn't like and then upgrading to a $200 one, to a $400 one, to eventually getting the one you wanted the whole time. So don't mistake being cheap with being frugal. Sometimes there's just so much noise out there with the millionaire mindset and 10 things that keep you poor, and, where to invest your money and how to invest your stimulus, how to 10x your stimulus check, money, wealth, happiness, all these different aspects of what you can look at and what you can study or videos you can watch, or, where you can focus your attention. But just boil it all down to these three things: income, expenses, savings. That's it. If you can boil it down to that starting point, that's the foundation of where you need to be to reduce your expenses, increase your income, save more money, get to retirement as fast as possible. So I'm going to go into a couple of tips for each one of those things, and I'll give you some ideas. So one thing you can do that's very easy, if you have credit card debt, you can call your credit card companies and simply ask them for a lower interest rate. If they say no, you can say you're getting some other credit card offers in the mail. I'm not condoning lying, but if you applied to some other credit card companies, you probably could get some other offers. Maybe you should do that as well. You can a lot of times find a new credit card where you can get a 0% interest on balance transfers. So maybe look for some of those, apply to some new credit cards, or just start with calling your credit card company saying, hey, look, I found this other credit card that's offering 0% transfers. So I'm either going to transfer my balance over to a new card and you'll make 0% interest because I'm going to transfer all my balances, or you can lower my interest rate from 12% to 6% or 4% or whatever they'll do for you. And a lot of times they will just right off the bat lower your interest rate. And if you do get that to happen, still go look for some of these no interest balance transfers where you can switch your money over. Maybe you can get 6 or 12 months with no interest. And then 100% of what you're paying is going to pay off the balances on those cards. And be sure to stop using them while you're trying to pay these balances down. That's a good way and a quick way to help you get out of any credit card debt. What you do once you get out of the credit card debt, so that is the savings side of things. So now let's go to the income side of things, or the savings part of things. So if you had a $600 a month or $400 a month credit card payment, once you can get that paid off, you're already used to making those minimum payments. Take that money and start putting it into the savings category. Your brain is already used to that money going out. So now just shift it from a credit card payment directly into your savings so that you can start to invest that money. You can shift it right into a IRA, a 401k, ETF, a Robinhood account, wherever. Just start shifting, or maybe an account to start saving for a down payment, whatever it is for a house. Just get it shifted from the debt column to the asset column. For more money saving tips, I did a video called How to Be Frugal and Still Be Cool, because I know a lot of people think you can't be cool and be frugal. Don't be cheap. That's what I'm talking about, the difference between frugal and cheap. So if you want to watch that video, I'll link to it up here. And there's like 17 ideas I have on there on how to spend less money. Okay, I'll give you one more idea on how to increase the income. If you have a job and you work for somebody, this is going to blow your mind, I'm sure, but this is what you do. You walk into the office of your boss and you say, hey, I'm sorry to bother you. Do you have a minute? And they say, sure, Jeff, come on in. You say, look, Mr. Boss, I've been working here for 3 years and I've really been trying to increase my blah, blah, blah ability. And I know that I'm doing a better job with XYZ. And I was wondering if it was time for you to possibly consider giving me a raise. And they will say, oh, you're right. I should give you a raise. And all of a sudden they'll double your salary. All right, well, maybe not. But don't just walk into their office and say, hey man, I've been here 3 years. I want a raise. Sally got one 2 years ago. Go in there, ask for a raise, and expect the question, okay, Jeff, why should I give you a raise? And have a few points mapped out of how you've advanced at work, what you've done better, how you've never been late, how whatever pertains to your job. Be ready to explain why you should get a raise. Nobody deserves a raise just for showing up every day. But if you can demonstrate how you've improved and you bring more value to the company, then it's time you probably should be paid for that. So don't be afraid to ask for it. A lot of times you're not going to get it unless you ask for it. The same that your credit card company is not going to call you up and offer to lower your rates. So be proactive. Too many people are reactionary to their debts, to their income, to their savings. So be proactive, make the steps. You'll start to see these little things will start to add up, and all of a sudden over time, you'll notice big differences. So that's it. Income, expenses, and savings, which also is investing. That's all. Boil it down to that. Get serious about it. You can make big improvements. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. We really would like to grow our subscriber base. And if that's too much of a commitment, just poke that like button down there for me. That helps the algorithm and it'll actually put this out to more people. And if you support me, I in turn shall keep making these videos for you. Thank you very much for stopping by, and we will see you in the next one.